Hello, my name's Julia. This is Lucy and Jasper. Welcome to my channel. So today I'd like to guide you through a very gentle class which is for absolute beginners to yoga, or perhaps those who haven't done yoga in a long time and want to just ease back into it very gently. So let's start off. Just sit with a straight spine. You don't have to have your legs crossed if that bothers them. You can have them sitting any way that feels comfortable. Just have your spine nice and long. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in and out through the nostrils, just feeling the air flowing in and out. Notice how it feels a little cooler on the inhales and a little warmed on the exhales. And slowly open your eyes, let your chin drop to your chest and your head slowly roll around. Now don't go too far on the way back, just listen to the body, keeping the breath nice and long. And roll the head the other way. Always make the breath the priority in the poses. Never take a stretch too far that your breath becomes all choppy, as this can easily pump up your blood pressure. Now take your left hand out to the side and bring the right arm up. Stretch it long. This is called the plant pot pose. So imagine your hips were a plant pot, seated down firmly. Really reach up with that top arm, stretch it back until you feel the stretch all the way down the right side of the waist and the rib cage. And then sink over a little bit, stretching that arm even longer if you can, and taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. In yoga, the gaze is called the drishti. It just means where your mind is focused. If it bothers your neck looking up like this, just look straight ahead or whatever feels comfortable for you. Always listening to the body. So bringing yourself up. Take your right hand out, and this time the left arm reaches up. So stretch long, planting the left hip into the mat. Pull back with that arm. The tummy is in, and breathing smooth. I try and keep the tummy in through the whole class, except for the relaxation. And bring yourself back up. We're going to come over onto hands and knees. Having your hands under your shoulders, spine nice and long, and that tummy held in. So arching the spine, look up. So you want your hips up, your shoulders up, your eyes up. Big inhale here. And as you exhale, round into a cat curl. So your chin tucks down into your chest and the belly button presses up into your backbone. Flow into that. So working with the breath. Halfway through the pose is halfway through your breath. Once you get into the full pose, looking up, the lungs are full of air. And then a very slow exhale. So on the flat back, you should be about halfway through your exhale. And by the time your chin's in your chest, your tummy and your chest are totally empty of air. Inhale again, really smoothly. As you flow into that wolf pose, like a wolf howling at the moon. And again, bring it into the cat. Come back to neutral and ease yourself down onto your arms. Have your forearms next to your elbows. Stretch out the left arm in front and pull back, letting your head rest down. Your hips just pull back. And breathe here. Enjoy that feeling of stretch. As you open up the shoulders and the chest. Should feel really nice. Lift your head. Bring that hand back near the elbow. And then take your right arm out in front. So pull back again. Let your head rest down. And breathe here gently. And then bring your hands again underneath your shoulders. And tuck your toes underneath, and we're going to press up into downward facing dog. So you want your feet to be about hips width apart, the hands are shoulder width apart, and you shift your weight back towards your feet as you gently press the legs up towards straight. They don't have to go completely straight. You can have the knees slightly bent if that feels better. But having working towards straight, the heels press towards the mat. They may not get there, that doesn't matter, but you just feel a lovely stretch all the way up the back of the legs. Push the mat away with your fingertips and let your head relax totally down. This is one of the most popular poses in yoga. It stretches out the whole body from your fingertips all the way to your feet. And then from here, walk your feet up towards your hands. So bend your knees, walk up slowly, and then hold on to your elbows and let yourself just hang down like a rag doll. Try shifting the weight back and forth a couple of times. And then relax totally down. You can move your head back and forth a couple of times as well. Make sure that it's totally relaxed. So bend your knees and allow yourself to roll up very, very slowly. Your fingertips can trace your legs. As you come up, the tailbone tucks under, your belly button is in. Really lengthen out the spine here. Roll your shoulders up, back and down, and your head comes to float. This is called Tadasana, the mountain pose. Your hands also press down, lengthen up. Imagine the sternum lifting up. This is excellent posture. So if you learned one pose in yoga, this will be the one to learn. Now we're going to go into triangle pose from here. If you step your feet apart and bring the left foot out, facing the front of the mat, and your right foot turned in about 45 degrees. Imagine pressing your feet down hard into the mat and rolling the thighs outwards, so an external rotation. Tailbone is tucked under, belly is in, but again lengthened. Roll the shoulders up, back and down, and then bring the arms up. I call this star pose. So if you imagine your hands were 2 points of the star, your head was 1 point, and your feet were another 2 points. So you're reaching out through every point, lengthening. Every millimeter of the body is working here. And then stretch forwards, out over that left leg. Notice how this hip comes out the other side. And then bring your left hand down and see where you can get without bending that front knee. Don't press directly on the kneecap, but perhaps you can bring your hand on the shin or further down towards the ankle. Or just listen to your body, wherever you get to is fine. Take that right hand up towards the ceiling and look up at it, if that doesn't bother your neck. If it does bother your neck, just look down. Now you want to be tucking the left hip under and the right hip up towards the ceiling. Pressing with the left arm and reaching up with the right arm. And then look down at your front foot for balance. Come up very slowly, keeping the spine long, working on that strength and balance. Nice. And then we'll do the other side. So turn your right foot out. This time the left foot comes in about 45 degrees. Pressing the feet into the mat again. Strong legs, strong abs. Arms reach out, stretch them long as far as our parts will go, and up through the crown of the head. Inhale, and as you exhale, stretch forward. See the hip comes out to the side, and come down. See where you can grab between the knee and ankle, and the other hand goes up towards the ceiling. So you're opening up this left shoulder, turning it around towards the ceiling as far as you can. Tucking under that right hip and opening the left hip up. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe. People often hold their breath in these poses. So turn your gaze down and with control, on one long inhale, come up slowly with control all the way back up to standing. And let's turn our feet again back around. First way we've started. And bend that front knee down. You might want to take the stance a little bit wider, because when you sink down, you want to make sure that this knee is not going over your toes. And rather than coming up, You want to take the stance wide as you can really sink down. Imagine you're going to bring your favourite drink to balance on that front thigh and you don't want it to spill. That back leg is strong and straight, pressing the little toe side of the foot into the mat. The body is up, right, so you have to pull yourself back a little bit so you're not leaning forwards here. Arms parallel with each other, stretching out front and back. And the hips naturally turn to face the front here. Nice. This is Warrior 2 pose. We're going to go into Warrior 1 now. Now, grabbing your hips, bring them around to face the front as much as they go. They might not go all the way. But keep sinking into that front leg and bring your arms up overhead. If you can, take the gaze to the ceiling so you're working on your balance. Sink into the front leg. Back leg is strong. And hold it. And then come back up. Warrior 2. The hips come naturally to the side. And come all the way to standing. And we'll take it over to the other side. So with that nice wide stance, sink down this time into your right side, bending the right knee down. Again, pressing the little toe side of your back leg into the mat. This leg is strong, firm, pressing down. Sink down. This knee also has a tendency to want to flop in towards the big toe. So with your leg strength, press it out to the side. Arms stretch out long and the gaze is out over your right middle finger. And breathe. Warrior 2. And then we'll take it to Warrior 1. So bring your hands onto your hips again, twist around. So this time the hips are going to try to face over towards your right leg. Sinking into it, pulling the body back so you're not leaning forward here. Keeping nice and upright. Bring your arms up. Gaze between your fingertips to the ceiling if you can. Really sink into the front leg and press that little toe side of your back foot into the mat. Nice and strong. And bring yourself back up. Warrior 2. And all the way back up. Bring the feet to parallel now. Hands onto your waist. Look up as you inhale. And as you exhale, come to a flat back. Stretch the arms out to the sides. And press the back of the hands up towards the ceiling. Nice stretch here. All the way at the back of the legs. Hold. And come all the way up to standing. Inhale, reach the palms to touch overhead. And exhale, bring them down. Walk your feet in and give yourself a little shake out. And we'll do a balance. The tree pose, probably one of the most famous balances in yoga. If you don't have very good balance, you might want to be able to hold on to something. So stand near a piece of furniture. You want to bring your weight onto one leg and then bring the other leg up. So if you're a bit uncertain about your balance, maybe just bring one foot on top of the other. If you want more of a challenge, bring the foot a little higher up. You might even want to grab it, bring it up towards the top of the thigh, press it in, and the hands come into prayer position at the heart. Now, if you want to, you can also do this holding onto something with one hand. And you don't forget, you can just have one foot on top of the other. You don't have to have the leg up so high. Just working on your own balance. Hold your pose. Take a few breaths. If you wobble out of the pose, just slowly come back into it. And then see if you can take a breath and release slowly with control. Nice, and then we'll do the other side. So turn around if you're going to hold on to a piece of furniture. Bring your weight onto your other leg. So shift the weight. Just feel what it feels like to shift the weight over to that side of the body. And bring your other foot up. Try it on the foot first. If that's too easy, bring the foot a little bit higher up the leg. Don't forget, you can hold on to something if you want to. But if you're holding on, just use your fingertips very lightly so that you're not relying on your hand for balance totally. You're working on developing your sense of balance. Hands to prayer if you can. And if you've got your knee up, have it opened out to the side. Find something to look at that's not moving. Find that lovely internal sense of calm. And then everyone inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can release with control. Bring the weight back onto the legs. Shift from side to side, just to develop that feeling internally of what it's like from one side to the other. And then close your eyes and do the same thing. So shifting the weight from one foot to the other. And then find that perfect balance between the front and the back of your feet, between the left and the right. Keeping your eyes still closed, reach the arms out and up overhead, stretch long. Take the gaze up, open your eyes and exhale. Bring your hands down. And we're going to come onto the floor to do some seated exercises. So ease yourself down. Come to sit with your legs out in front of you. And if you want to, you can sit on a block or a cushion, which would give your hips just a little bit of a forward tilt, which might help with this pose. So you want to stretch up, lifting the chest as high as you can, and then walk yourself forward. Maybe you can grab hold of your legs, maybe you can grab hold of your feet, wherever you get to is fine. So arch the spine as you inhale, and as you exhale, let your chest come forwards towards the feet, and then just let your head relax. So the legs stay straight. There is obviously a natural lift underneath the knees. You don't have to press them down into the mat, but just keep them naturally straight. And just let yourself relax in this pose here, wherever you get to. If you're quite flexible, you might grab around the feet and be able to come down much further. But just listen to your body. Wherever you get to is absolutely fine. Relax into it. And then ease yourself up very slowly. And if you can, come to a cross-legged position. If it's uncomfortable, sit with your legs out in front, or you can even kneel if that works for you. Some people find that quite comfortable. And you're sitting up tall now. Bring your right hand on the outside of your left knee. Sounds a bit complicated, I know. And your other hand goes behind. Okay, so your hands crossing the body here. Sit up nice and tall and press into a twist looking back. So it's a lovely spinal twist. Notice how I'm keeping my spine up and down. What people do often wrong in this pose is they lean back and their pose looks something like this and their back is all crooked. So you want to be sitting up nice and tall. Even though you're twisting, the spine is lengthening up towards the ceiling. So release yourself from that side and then bring your left hand onto the other knee. So sit up tall, inhale, and as you exhale, press into the twist. So pushing against this knee, pushing against the floor with your right hand and lengthening up. Every inhale, see if you can grow that 1/4 inch taller. Every exhale, see if you can press a little further into the pose. Just wringing out the spine. Not taking it too far, listening to the body. And bring yourself around to the front. Give yourself a little bit of a shake out. And we're going to come down onto the mat. So ease yourself, hips forward, so you've got lots of space behind you. And either lie straight down or else bring your arms out. Arch the spine around into that cat curl and see if you can come down very slowly, working on the abdominals as you go. If this is too difficult, just come straight down and lie on the mat. Maybe try this next time. So slowly, slowly easing yourself down until you get your back flat on the floor. And then bring your knees one at a time. Hug them into your chest. And rock yourself side to side. It should feel really nice. And then bringing your feet down, walk them as close as you can towards your hips. And then start to tuck the tailbone under and lift the hips up very slowly off the floor. So you're going to push them up as high as you can get them, pressing the feet into the mat so that all the weight is on your feet and on your shoulders. So push those hips up as high as they'll go. And don't let the knees splay out. Don't squeeze them together. Just keep them parallel. So they're just working to stay in line with each other here. Push the hands into the floor, pressing up those hips as high as they'll go. This is the bridge pose. And then take your hands behind your head, hold onto your elbows, and start to tuck the tailbone under and lower yourself very slowly. So you're coming down one vertebra at a time, starting from your upper back. It's not easy sometimes, certain parts of our back are very tight, but as much as you can, ease it down one vertebra at a time. You really need to have that tailbone tucked right under to lower yourself, especially the lower back. Once your spine gets all the way down, touches to hand, relax for a second and then reverse. So tucking that tailbone under, again start to ease that spine up off the floor from the lower back and the middle back and then the upper back. So you're pushing up as high as you can, squeezing the buttocks, pushing the feet into the floor. Hold it here. And ease down again, one vertebra at a time. Upper back comes down, middle back, and finally the lower back. And then bring the knees up one at a time again into the chest. Hug them in and let yourself rock very gently, side to side. Should feel lovely. Try taking the knees a little further away from you. And a little closer. And then trace imaginary circles around and around with your knees. One direction first. And then the other way. And then bring your feet to the floor one at a time with the knees still bent. Take your legs a little bit further apart near the edges of the yoga mat. Take your arms out to the sides and just let the feet flop over to one side, a bit like window wipers. Relax there. It's a lovely stretch on the lower back. And bring your knees back up towards the ceiling and then let them flop over the other way down. Take a couple of breaths here and we'll do that again on each side. So bring the knees up. Let them flop over one way, relax here, and bring them back up. Let them flop again over to the other side. And bring them back up. Again, hug them into the chest very gently and rock side to side. And then start to stretch your legs out one at a time, slowly down onto the mat. Have your legs about hip width apart and let your legs rock back and forth a few times. And then relax them completely, letting the feet just flop apart. Adjust your back, maybe squeeze the shoulder blades underneath you a little bit so that it's very comfortable. Have your hands a comfortable distance from your sides and try lying with your palms facing up. This is a total surrender pose. Sometimes you'll see dogs or other animals, cats, lying on their back, on their bellies with their arms and legs sprawled out, and it doesn't always look the most elegant, but it's showing you that they trust you because this is a very vulnerable position that you're lying in. So by lying this way, you're telling your body that you are comfortable and relaxed and safe. So have your eyes gently closed now. Just rock your head side to side, so pressing one ear towards the mat gently, and then the other. And go back and forth a couple of times, very slowly, just enjoying that lovely feeling of stretch. And then bring your head to a comfortable position at the back of your head. Adjust anywhere else that doesn't feel quite right. Take a couple of deep breaths. And feel with every exhale that you are melting more and more into the floor. This is Shavasana, the relaxation pose, where you just let every muscle go. Let your mind relax. Just bring the focus again onto your breath. If any other thoughts pop into your mind, which they usually do, just ignore them. They're going to come there anyway. It's like having the television set on. You can't turn it off, but you can choose not to watch it. So every time those annoying thoughts pop into your head, just bring your attention slowly back to the breath, feeling it flowing in and out through the nostrils. The belly rises and falls very gently like a baby sleeping. This is the natural way we breathe. And then start to bring your awareness gently back into the room. Wriggle your fingers and your toes. And take your arms above your head and stretch out like a cat waking from an afternoon nap. Just stretch out luxuriously any way that feels good. And then bend the knees one by one. And gently hug them into your chest one by one. And again, let yourself rock side to side. You should be feeling very good, very peaceful now. So keeping that sense of peacefulness, rock gently over onto one side. Rest here just for a moment. And slowly let your eyes open. And very, very slowly come back up to sitting. So slowly you don't disturb that sense of peace that you've got inside you now. So come to sit with a straight spine, cross-legged or any way that works for you. Close your eyes again just for a moment. Your hands can rest on your knees, perhaps on your lap, whatever feels right for you. Take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. Lovely feeling of clear-headedness. That fresh air flowing through the lungs. And open your eyes. Inhale now and stretch your arms up overhead, palms touch. And exhale, bring them down. And then one more time. Inhale, reach, stretch long. And exhale down. Well done. Namaste. For those of you who don't know, the word namaste roughly translates into the light inside of me recognizes the light inside of you. So it's a very beautiful greeting. Namaste. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and then you'll be updated on all my latest videos and meditations as they come out. I'll be releasing them every week, so please check back often.